Hey everyone, welcome to Ajay and Nathan Discuss Movies, a show in which we discuss movies both old and new. Today we have a new movie that just dropped in the theaters this past weekend. And what is that movie title, Nathan, and who directed it?
It's Warfare, directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland. Friend of the pod, Alex Garland.
Hell yeah, we're not calling Ethan today.
No, we're
unlike
not.
The last Alex Garland.
Because Kaylee Spaney is not in this movie.
That is a reference to our last Alex Garland review, so go watch our Civil War review.
Civil War.
It's on our channel. But who directed this movie? It's obviously Alex Garland, but there's one more person.
Yeah, no, I said Ray Mendoza.
Ray Mendoza, yeah.
Yeah, no.
And before we get into our review or our thoughts on this review, briefly summarize what this movie's about.
Yes, a platoon of American Navy SEALs on a surveillance mission gone wrong in insurgent territory. A boots-on-the-ground story of modern warfare and brotherhood, told in real time and based on the memory of the people who lived it. I read that directly from the letterbox. Full disclosure, I saw the movie literally 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to get over it, so my memory's shot, but that's what it's about.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on this film?
Oh boy, these are my raw thoughts after leaving the theater. 90 minutes of just pure chaos, just pure misery. It's filthy, it's gross, it is just such a viscerally upsetting experience. That being said, it's really good movie, well made me feel all the things I think they wanted me to feel, and I'm still feeling them. Ajay, your thoughts on Warfare?
Alex Garland has hit it out of the park again.
Yeah.
This was one of the best movies of the year and probably in my top 5. I love this movie. At times, this film felt purposeless, aimless, directionless. It was not really clear to the audience what these Navy SEALs were doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the point. And much like
yeah.
the Iraq War, this film also felt purposeless and directionless. And I think that's the best way to summarize this film. I loved it a lot. I thought it was a great...
Yeah.
I thought it featured some of the best performances out of this ensemble cast.
Yes.
I thought Joseph Quinn hit it out of the park. I thought Charles Melton was also really good. Will Poulter.
Yeah, Will Poulter from Death of a Unicorn.
I mean,
getting to do some real acting here.
He's a great actor.
He's fantastic.
He's an amazing actor. I think he's theater trained, I'm pretty sure.
Probably, yeah,
Maybe.
I'd imagine.
I mean, I think that shows that's a testament to how well of an actor he is. But yeah, just overall great performances. And honestly, I felt like this film was a lot more horrifying than a lot of the horror movies we've watched in the past few months.
Yeah, no, there's such a long stretch of this movie that is just pure tension. And when the tension breaks, it becomes just a nightmare, a cacophony of just noise and blood that is not fun to watch. It's basically, it's body horror. At times, it almost feels like misery. And that's only for like such a short stretch, just because the horrible things that happen to these guys, they just hold on it for so long. Joseph Quinn, who is amazing in this movie, but his performance is essentially screaming and writhing in pain for a majority of the film, and it's just so uncomfortable to watch. That's the entire movie. It's like gunfights are happening, and in any other like war movie, those would be like big, exciting, like action moments. In this, they just feel like disorienting, and just like there are points where I'm just like, oh my god, please make it stop. I want to go home. I don't want to be in the sandbox anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, it really, does its job of putting you like with these guys in the and watching it just unfold in real time.
This is a compliment to the movie, but at times it felt like a realistic Cronenberg movie. Like, sci-fi. I'm not saying it like a sci-fi. Like Cronenberg is a master at sci-fi and body horror, but I felt like this is like what he would do it, but and a realistic depiction of it,
in
times 10.
Yes, in a dry kind of like very procedural kind of way, because that was the thought I had while watching it. Just feels very procedural, just like they are going through the motions of this. The first chunk of the movie is just them in an apartment, just kind of waiting for things to happen. And I would argue it was more tense than when the actual shooting started, because you're just in the apartment with them, and just there's these long, drawn-out moments of just them waiting for anything to happen. And when like stuff starts to slowly kind of happen, because outside it's just like, oh, I'm seeing guys with guns and they're looking in our direction, just the tension is ramping up so slowly. It just that got me more than anything. I was just in my seat just like clutching everything, just like, oh my god, when is like a shot gonna ring out? When is anything terrible gonna happen? It's that weight that just captures you and just holds you.
And Alex Garland is a master of that. Because
absolutely, yeah.
When you saw Civil War, the previous film he directed, when you see Jesse Pinkman?
Plemons. Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons with that heart-shaped sunglasses and with that gun, and when he shoots somebody for not telling him where he's from, that was very abrupt and that was very scary. And in a lot of ways, when you see that first bomb go off,
oh yeah, that first grenade that goes off.
When that happened in my theater, some guy was like, "Oh,"
yes.
He audibly said, "Oh," in the theater, and I thought that was amazing. And one of the things that I sort of found about this movie, and in terms of the build-up to this movie, is that there was a lot of criticism as to whether or not this was an American propaganda film.
Yeah, no, I shared the same sentiments.
And I feel as if you leave the theater feeling that way, I don't think you really understood what the film was about.
Yeah, no, my fear and thoughts before seeing this, because the trailers made it kind of look like generic action war film that'd be like romanticized and show these guys fighting the good fight overseas in the name of freedom, and then when you watch it, it's so miserable. There's like one character who shows up very late in the movie, one of the guys in their squad, who kind of like almost embodies like the weird like gung-ho spirit. He's like, here we are, boys, we're in the and he like constantly is like walking over the like broken, trampled legs of his squad mates, and the character of Ray Mendoza, who is an actual veteran who was in this experience, is constantly just like, dude, hey, shut up, stop talking, don't do anything, like go in the corner while I'm trying to give this bleeding man morphine. It completely removes any romanticized or like almost like cinematic elements to it to like make it look like flashy or cool. It just feels raw.
And not only that, but when you see the beginning of the film, where you see two soldiers just taking aim at innocent Iraqis, how can you look at that and think to yourself, oh yeah, that's American propaganda?
Yeah.
Them taking aim at like innocent Iraqis who have had nothing to do with any terrorism whatsoever, just going about their day as is.
Yeah. No,
that's not American propaganda. I'm sorry. You can watch that and think to yourself, oh, that's propaganda, that we're the good guys in this situation.
It feels as though there can be like a sect of viewers for this movie, like kind of like the people who watch Civil War, like the subtext will like go right over their heads. I think are we good to get into spoilers?
Yeah, of course,
would you say at this point? Yeah. The very end of the movie is just so, it sums up the entire thing. Once the soldiers, they get in their tanks and they leave, everyone that was shooting at them they just kind of come out into the street, and they're just wandering around, just like, well, I guess they're gone now. It's so like uncathartic. Just they were there, stuff got blown up, they left, and then everyone's just kind of like, what now? It just, because the entire movie, even when it opens, I found it so interesting. Like before the title card even comes up, it just shows like a just snapshot photo of the apartment that they are in, And then by the end of the movie, that place has been torn to shreds and blown up, and everyone is just there left with the destruction. I think it says a lot without having to say anything at all.
And during those moments in which things were getting blown up, even the moments in which a bomb went off and like they had trouble hearing and people's limbs were being torn off.
Yes, oh my God.
The cinematography and the sound design were king in this film.
Oh my God, the sound design, yes. From those first moments, like the only happy moments in the entire movie, it's just like when they're all just like, you know, at base, and they're all just kind of like hyping themselves up to go do a soldiering, and they're like watching a music video.
Eric Prydz, Call on Me.
Yeah, they're watching that, and they're all getting hyped up, they're hooting and hollering. It really works to like make you feel for these, like immediately identify with these guys. And that's just in stark contrast to where they end up in the movie, just like 1,000-yard stares the entire time.
Yeah.
You're in real time, you are watching people just gain brain damage.
The juxtaposition from the beginning of the film, where it's being played, Eric Prydz, Call on Me, to the end of the film, where it's a much more melodramatic song, featuring a song from Low, as you see the faces being blurred out.
Yeah,
that was a very interesting duality to that.
That was very interesting. Yeah, the entire end showing like they have some of the guys from the actual event show up, and you watch them like interact with like the actors. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. And like Ray Mendoza himself, the co-director, was one of these guys. He's a character in the movie. But then when they show the actor and then the actual real life soldier, and like the faces are blurred out, there's this weird like sense of like you're at a distance. It's like weird. It's like it still leaves you with this eerie feeling of like, what is going on here? Again, like I did just see it. My thoughts are not entirely formed. This is just pure raw emotion. It all just felt so off. And I feel like with so much of the movie, yeah, in a good way, it feels intentional.
Yeah. I think this film is meant for discussion and debate, and I think that's very healthy. Because I think in a lot of ways, like, it's very easy to come into this film being like, well, they're glorifying the military with this film. I remember hearing a quote from Spielberg who said, if you're making a war movie, it's inherently an anti-war movie, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think you need to be very specific in which you like direct when you make a war movie, because there are times where, and we've seen this before with the American Snipers of the world, where it's very easy to make a film that is a war movie that feels like a pro-war movie. Yeah. And I think with this film, there may be skeptics or naysayers who may say that this feels like a pro-war movie. I'm willing to engage in that discussion. But in my eyes, I can't look at this film and think to myself, it's a pro-war movie, when I see them ambush an Iraqi family, an innocent Iraqi family, and leave them hostage.
And that even that like family, they're treated as an afterthought for the entire movie. Even the initial, like, them entering the house late at night, it's before they even enter the house, you just see, like, they're just, like, combing the streets, looking all tactical, and then, like, two of them make eye contact from across the street, and they just start, like, humping the air. It's very douchey. And then one of them
just... like Fortnite.
He starts default dancing. And then, just, like, they go up to Will Poulter. He's like, what's up? He's like, this is a good house. We should enter it. Yeah. And then they raid the place. And then that family is just trapped in that room for the entire movie. And each time it like will cut back to their faces, just kind of reacting to the horrible stuff going on. It's like, you're just like, oh, I forgot that there's this entire family in the house. Will Poulter has a concussion and he just sits on the bed, just completely dazed. And it just shows the family just terrified behind him. You're like, oh my God, what's even happening?
Yeah. I feel all that. And I mean, this is not a one-to-one comparison while watching the movie, but and this may be a little bit of a far-off comparison or a reach or similar film.
I'm really interested in what you're going to say, yeah.
But it felt like, that movie Room starring Brie Larson? where it all takes place in one room.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel necessarily like that, but it in terms of like the way that it's like composed and constructed, where it's all within that one apartment.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. It feels like a single location kind of movie.
Not The Room, directed by Tommy Wiseau.
That's an entirely different.
If the women love each other.
Tommy Wiseau is one of these. You're tearing me apart, George W. Bush. But
Anyway, how is your sex life?
Yeah. What were we talking about? Warfare.
Room,
I forgot.
Room. We're talking about Room.
Yeah, Room, not The Room. Okay. Yes, I agree. It feels like a very much single location kind of movie. Their entire goal throughout the movie is just, we want to leave this apartment because everyone is shooting at us. It's kept fairly vague, like exactly like what are they reconnaissing? Like in this location, they're just watching for enemy activity. And then they find the enemy activity, and then they immediately try to leave. They have 2 interpreters with them, and when the first tank shows up to like exfil like one guy, they purposefully send out the interpreters first. They're like, wait, the guys get into the street. They're like, okay, now the rest of us can go. It's so wild, and that's when that second IED explosion goes off, and I shit my pants. It was so sudden, and the effects of it are so gnarly. That was one of the most affecting scenes in the movie, because after that, it's just noise. It's people screaming, it's gunfire, and you just have like overlapping sound of just like everyone's radios going crazy. Yeah. And that sense, that feeling that gives you is what happens for the rest of the movie. It's just, make it stop. Yeah. I don't want to be a soldier anymore.
What's worse, an IED exploding or an IUD exploding?
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money.
Back to the camaraderie of the cast. Let's talk about that.
Yes!
Because we mentioned a few standouts, but who was the actor that played Raymond Mendoza?
Raymond, oh my god.
It's a bit of a difficult name to remember.
I have the DeFaro Woon-A-Tai. I definitely said it wrong, but he was previously in Hell of a Summer, and he is also one of the... Oh,
really?
Yeah, no, he was one of the, spoilers, murderers in Hell of a Summer.
Oh, yeah,
he was Mike, and then he's also part of a show, Reservation Dogs. That's a fantastic show.
He got a haircut since then. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, he got a haircut for the role, but he's really fantastic as he's basically kind of like our audience surrogate, essentially, as well as, playing the real to life guy who also helped direct the movie. And then Cosmo Jarvis, who I remember him because his name is really cool, Cosmo Jarvis from Shogun. Cosmo Jarvis is the dude who kind of gets like the worst of it. Both his legs just get shredded. James Gandolfini, who injects himself with morphine on accident, and that was so funny.
Yeah.
Charles Melton, Will Poulter, it's a stacked cast. I recognized other guys in the cast, but they were all playing like just other members of the squad. It's hard to remember even a lot of people's names because the movie's just such chaos. It's hard to keep up. You just know these guys are in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
There's
not that much that happens in the movie, but there's so much emotion that's displayed on screen.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
It's difficult to like turn away from it because you know that all these actors are giving a heartfelt performance. And for some of these people, that it comes firsthand. I mean, Charles Melton's dad was served in the Air Force.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh.
And, he kind of took it upon himself to, work on this film because he realized the importance of, like, really honoring, his dad and, to really showcase war in a different perspective. And I thought, Charles Melton, especially during the second half of the film, really stepped up, and I was very surprised. I was mostly surprised by Charles Melton's performance, I'm not gonna lie.
No, because he comes into this situation that has just been blown apart, and he kind of tries his best to get a handle on the situation. It's so many great moments that are just sticking out in my head when they have to when one guy's like, yeah, they won't extract us until we get confirmation from a commanding officer. He's like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to call them back. You're the commanding officer. Tell them to come pick us up. It's like when you remove yourself from the horrible stuff happening on screen, this movie is just 90 minutes of the worst day at work for these guys. And then the very next day, most of them are going to get sent back in to do it all over again. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's their own personal purgatory.
Yeah.
It's a fate worse than jail because they understand that what they're doing is technically wrong and what they're doing is something that's in bad faith, but they have to do it because there is no other alternative to it.
Gotta get that oil.
Yeah, gotta get those poppy fields.
We need that oil, baby.
Yeah, we need that heroin, dude. We need that heroin being shipped back into America. Anyways,
fun.
I feel like we could talk more about this movie.
We could,
but it's best for you to watch it.
Yes, it is an experience. It truly is. It's if you see it in IMAX, you
did.
No, I did not.
I don't think they have an IMAX format for this movie.
Oh, they don't? That's a shame because if this was like Civil War, which got an IMAX release, you would not have eardrums.
Yeah.
Because the sound design, like you said earlier, is beyond. It's insane how loud, how punchy everything feels. I'm watching it. I'm just thinking, please, awards for everyone on the production side of this because it's insane.
Yeah. So wrapping up our thoughts. I'm exhausted.
And I think the movie wanted to exhaust me. And for that, high honor. Thank you, Warfare. Great movie.
It's one of the best war movies ever made. It's
Kinda.
up there with the Platoons of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best war films I've seen, and I think it's a testament to not only Raymond Mendoza but also Alex Garland for creating a film that really shakes you to your core with a great ensemble cast, great sound design and cinematography. And I think this is something that will require future viewings because even though like at right now I don't feel comfortable watching it again, I know that there is replay value to it. And I know that it's going to lead to more discourse, not just in terms of films and this film as a medium, like this particular film as like a part of the film medium, but also just in a more broad sense about the Iraq War, about the need for war or the lack of a need for war. It will spin several important conversations, which I think is very important when it comes to making art. You know, the purpose of art is to like encourage a conversation. I think that this is a great starter for that.
It is. I agree with that.
And we've slobbered over
we've slobbered over this movie. But
this is a film that I think, and personally for me, will be in my top 5 films of the year easily.
I can see that.
I know we're only 3 or 4 months in, but I'm dead set on including it.
No, this was terrific. Ray Mendoza, Alex Garland, absolutely killed it.
Yes. So that concludes today's episode.
That's Warfare.
That is Warfare.
That's war, baby.
We're excited to discuss Sinners next week.
Sinners, yes.
If we are available.
I'm actually pretty hyped for Sinners.
Hell yeah. I am too. I saw Ryan Coogler discuss film on like a Kodak, on a post by Kodak, like the Kodak film camera company.
Oh, okay.
About like the importance of 35mm, 70mm, like a 10-minute video of it. And I was like, damn, this guy's really into it. So I'm like, okay, if he's really into it, then they gotta be very into it.
Is that why you sent me that video of David Cronenberg being like, I hate shooting on film. It's so difficult. I just shoot digitally.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect. I mean, there's pros and cons to both systems.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're discussing a video that the audience hasn't watched yet or is familiar with what we're discussing, so we'll drop the video in here, and then that's our way of signing off.
That's how we sign off.
All right, we'll discuss Sinners next week.
Bye.
Bye.
But I want to know, what are some kind of changes in the film industry that you've observed? Are there any that you find really positive or any that kind of worry you?
Well, the main one is the jump to digital.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic. And I have no nostalgia for film at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I have nostalgia for films that were made on film, but I would never shoot on film, never edit on film. It's horrible. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing.
It's funny.
Digital is so much better. It's
Yeah.
it's just like typewriters. I have great affection for typewriters.
Of course, yeah.
I used to fall asleep to the sound of my father typing.
Yeah.
But I would never want to type something on a
Right.
typewriter.